my bike's been acting up again. For the past few months, the starting crank's just been getting weaker and weaker, and I've never had this issue before. I've taken it to the dealer's mechanic, but he just kept coming up with excuses and a lot of nonsense. I know the garage offered me an appointment 2 months from now, but that's just crazy. I can't wait that long. At this point, I'm just tired of push starting the bike, so I'm going to have a go at troubleshooting it myself and see if I can get the Mutt running. Worst case scenario, I'll mess it up, but at least I learned something new. To start, I want to make sure the problem isn't the battery. It's not that old, but it's not exactly top quality either. I'm checking the voltage with the ignition off, and so far it looks healthy. I'm getting about 12.8 volts. With the ignition on, it still looks good, staying above 12 volts, but when I press the starter, nothing changes at all, not even a crank, so it doesn't seem to be a battery issue. I'm also checking that the ground strap isn't damaged and that it's free from corrosion, but it also looks fine. Since nothing looks off there, I'm moving on to the solenoid. It does click when I hit the starter button, so it's definitely getting power. I'm checking the connection between the solenoid and the starter motor, and that seems fine too, so I'm starting to think that I have a faulty starter. I've heard that sometimes the brushes inside the starter can get stuck, and you can free them up by giving it a gentle tap with a plastic hammer. I tried it, but still no luck. At this point, I'm fairly sure that the issue is with the starter motor itself. Removing it is very simple. It's held by 2 screws, easily accessible, and the connector in this case can be removed with a Phillips screwdriver. Opening it up, I can see it's clearly burnt. There's a lot of rust in there, which suggests it wasn't sealed properly. Water must have got inside and caused a short circuit. Now I'm cleaning the area where the starter sits, making sure I don't push any dirt inside the engine. Now that the issue is assessed, I'll order a new starter motor and let's hope that will fix it. So after waiting for a week, I finally received the starter motor, and this is actually a very easy fix. I only have to push the starter back into its place, put the screws back in and install the power connector. This bike uses the same starter as most of the 125cc Suzukis from the 80s and early 90s, so it's very easy to find spares. I'm lubricating the O-ring so it doesn't get damaged installing it. I push the starter back in place, line up the screw holes and start tightening it down. I don't have torque specs for this, so I'm just making sure it's snug without over tightening. Moment of truth. Let's try turning the bike on. It fired up on the first try and I'm pretty happy with that. I was ready to put everything back together and do some basic wheel maintenance when I spotted a problem. One of the turn signal wires was almost down to bare copper. Turns out it had been constantly touching the wheel, slowly getting worn down over time. I never caught it during previous services, but thankfully it's a quick and simple fix. I start by cutting open the black sleeve so I can access the wires inside, and then I insulate each one individually. I'm using cast vinyl here because that's what I have, but normally you'd just use electrical tape. I'm not being too precious with it, mainly because I plan on redoing all the wiring on this bike anyway. From the factory it's pretty messy, and this is exactly why. To prevent this from happening again, I reposition the wire away from the wheel and secure it in place with a zip tie. Now that that's finally fixed, I put the turn signals and the seat back on, torque everything to spec and move on to checking the wheels. I Start by checking the tire pressure, making sure both wheels are set to 32 psi. Using a very fine sandpaper, I scrub the brake discs to remove any brake dust or other contaminants, and I also inspect the brake pads for wear. In this case, everything looks good. With everything finally fixed, it's time to take the bike out for a test ride. Thanks for watching.